Lined up for you, including the growing queues for essential commodities, including gas cylinders and milk powder, and even moves by the Health Ministry to offer vaccines for children from tomorrow. All these stories and more in the next 15 minutes. But first, let's take a look at the headlines this afternoon. Long queues for gas cylinders and milk powder. Wild elephant shot dead at Sittle Power. COVID-19 vaccines for children between 12 and 15 years from tomorrow. Circular issued to end salary anomalies of teachers and principals. Verdict on the Valikada prison riots postponed. Australia denies entry to tennis world #1 Novak Djokovic. In a story making headlines, the shortage of gas cylinders has severely affected people in the country, and there's been no solution yet. Large crowds of people queued outside gas distribution centres today as well, as they queued up to buy gas cylinders.
People in Panudura have been standing in queues since early this morning. People were seen in queues since early this morning in Mathura as well.
I'm pregnant. අතර මට පැය ගානක් මෙතන හිටගෙන ඉන්න අමාරුයි. ඒත් කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. අපි කොළඹ ඉඳලා එන්නේ. ඊයේ රෑ ඉඳලා මේ විදිහට ගියොත් නම් අපිට ඇත්තටම ලංකාවක් නැතුව යාවි. උඩුම සැපක් තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් හම්බ කරගෙන ඇමරිකාවට යනවා. අපි මෙහෙ බඩගින්න.
People were in queues to purchase gas in Oropuwatta in Galle. However, only 500 gas cylinders were available in the market. Meanwhile, Litro Gas Lanka Limited says it has increased the number of domestic gas cylinders released to the market daily to 90,000. Chairman of the Litro Gas Lanka Limited, Satyagraha Singh, has said the daily issue of gas cylinders have been increased by about 30,000. He further said that with the gas cylinder being returned and with new standardization process, there have been some obstacles in releasing gas cylinders to the market in recent days. The chairman said that the company currently has sufficient stocks of gas. He said a vessel carrying 3,700 metric tons of gas is currently anchored in Keravalapitia and that the gas will be distributed after testing its quality. However, he said it would take a few more weeks to rectify the current gas shortage.
A group of civil activists, including Mahil Bandara and Kitsara Gunaratne, visited the Bribery Commission today to lodge a complaint regarding a number of issues, including gas explosions and shortages. The country is suffering a loss of 10 billion due to this agreement. Some people are using this money for their personal matters, but we don't know who's behind this or who's benefiting from this. But the people of the country are suffering. That is how this country is being governed. 2020 is a time when this government was in power. They appointed the ministers, the officials and the chairman who are involved in this.
Shortage of milk powder in the market is also continuing to plague the general public. Even today, long queues were seen opposite a local milk powder shop in Mirihan, Nugegoda. The people charged that although tokens were issued to purchase milk powder recently, tokens were not issued today.
While people are forming long queues to purchase essential goods, farmers are continuing to face the brunt of the fertilizer crisis. They say the government hasn't provided them a solution yet.
Farmers of the Ambavila Ravana Farmers Organisation in the Valige Pola Divisional Secretariat in the Ratnapura district are now in dire straits without fertilizer. About 200 acres of paddy lands have been destroyed due to the lack of fertilizer. Although the government has issued organic liquid fertilizer, farmers claim that the provided is not effective. Paddy fields cultivated in the Dunu Dambuvava area in the Nochiagama Divisional Secretariat are second to none. These paddy fields have not been destroyed due to lack of fertilizer. However, as a result of the organic liquid fertilizer supplied by the government has turned their crops yellow.
Multiple promises were made to the farmers by the agriculture minister in order to encourage them to start using organic fertilizer. The farmers were told that if any damage is occurred to their crops by using organic fertilizer, compensation will be made. The minister guaranteed this. But what has happened to the farmers now? The government was willing to pay for the ship that was carrying Chinese fertilizer unconditionally. However, they have now imposed conditions on the farmers when paying compensation. They are threatening the farmers. If this continues, the country will face a famine. A time will come where the people will have to fight over one jackfruit when the country goes into a food shortage.
The Satyagraha launched by farmers in Hambantota is in its 17th day. It is being staged by 86 farmers' organizations, including the Walawa Left Bank United Farmers Organization. The farmers are demanding a permanent solution for wild elephant encroachments.
The Satyagraha is staged demanding the proper implementation of the gazetted Hambantota Wild Elephant Management Reserve and directing wild elephants roaming the area to the gazetted Wildlife Sanctuary, threatening their lives and property. Meanwhile, a group of members of the agrarian movement visited the premises last night and extended their support to the Satyagraha.
In some tragic news, a wild elephant has been shot dead in Koragaha Ulpata along the Situlpawa Tissa Maharama main road.
Our correspondent reported that an elephant about 10 feet tall, believed to be between 25 and 30 years, had been killed. Police said a post-mortem examination on the carcass will be conducted today. The Yala Wildlife Zone officer E.W. Manod said more investigations are being carried out into the suspect who shot the elephant.
On to some political stories. The Kandy District Convention of the National People's Power Movement was held last afternoon.
Representatives of the National People's Power Movement, local political leaders, social activists and scholars were present. Our greatest responsibility as citizens is to choose the right solution to overcome the current crisis. They need our help not only to choose but also to implement that solution. The solution has to come from us and not anybody else. We need to interfere and make sure that the right solution is implemented. All this while we have been told that there are solutions that are given from outside. Principles are set from high position. Suggestions are made and the only role we play is to just simply watch. We cannot go on as an audience and solve this crisis. We need to actively participate. It's not only the principles that needs to be changed. We need to change the conversation between us. We need to rethink those aspects and make the necessary changes.
The common experience on all sides displays a great deal of involvement from every political party. We all know that in society there are people who represent different places, different groups, not parties but even artists, doctors, professors, intellectuals who are joining the people's movement. Never before have people from all walks of life rallied around the leftist movement or a pragmatic movement in Sri Lanka like this. Many people say that they are supporting us. We're saying them that don't just extend your support. Instead, accept us. We used to ask for support, but no longer as we are expecting support. We are working on our own with our friends, our relatives, and we are a part of this movement and we are working on it together.
The State Minister Piyal Nishanta has spoken about the upcoming cabinet reshuffle and the recent remarks made by former President Maithripala Sirisena.
The president is not trying to remove people from their seats. We can build a good country if we work towards what the people want. We should not be narrow-minded and opportunistic politicians. We shouldn't also be puppets for certain people.
අපි දැක්කා ඊයේ දිනේදී මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මහතා දැඩි ප්‍රහාරයක් කළ කරන ආණ්ඩුවට මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ පිපිරීම තමයි ඔය ඊයේ ඒක අමාත්‍යවරයෙක් ඉවත් කරලා සිදු කරගන්නේ.
අහෝ කේදේ කේදේකි මොකද මේ රටේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා හැටියට එතුමා ඉන්න කාලේ
People know what happened when he was the president of the country. There were ulterior objectives behind the statements he made. We will not let them achieve those objectives for as long as we are in power. If you have the discipline, you can stay. If not, you should leave.
නැත්තම් යන්න පුළුවන් කියන කතාව තමයි කියන්න සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ.
Now we go to headline making story. The health ministry says vaccines will be offered to children between 12 and 15 years from tomorrow. The vaccination drive for school children will begin tomorrow. The children should be sent to receive the vaccines according to the instructions issued by schools. While vaccines are given for children, anyone who missed their dose can meet health officials and obtain the vaccine either on that day or fix a date on which they can obtain it.
The Department of Government Information said 550 new COVID-19 cases were detected in the country yesterday. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka now stands at 589,479. The Director General of Health Services yesterday confirmed that 10 COVID-19 deaths were reported in the country. The total COVID-19 fatalities have risen to 15,065.
In some news coming in from the courts, a High Court judge bench has delayed issuing the verdict on the case relating to the Lanka prison riots until the 12th of January, that's next Wednesday. The case has been filed by the Attorney General, former Police Inspector Neomal Rangajiva and former Prisons Commissioner Emil Ranjan Lamaheva. They're facing charges over the killing of 8 prisoners at the Lanka prison in 2012. A special 3-judge bench comprising Justices Gihan Kulatunga, Pradeep Hettiarachchi and Manjula Tilakaratne will deliver the verdict. In rest of the day stories, now a circular has been issued to resolve the salary issues of teachers and principals. It has been issued by the Ministry of Public Services, Provincial Councils and Local Government. The circular was issued based on the decisions made by the Cabinet this week and on the 30th of August last year. The revision of salaries for teachers and principals is being done with the agreement of the National Salaries Commission and the Finance Ministry. It has been made effective from the 1st of January. We've got some tragic news now. A man has been killed by a crocodile as he was plucking greens in the Arabasna Canal. He was a father of 2.
A 58-year-old man from Ambalantota was killed by a crocodile as he was plucking greens in the canal. He had wanted to satisfy the hunger of his 2 children.
කිව්වේ නැහැ ඉතින් මං එන රට්ටෙත් එක ඊට පස්සේ ආවම තමයි කිව්වේ මෙහෙමයි කියලා.
තාත්තයි පලා කඩන්න ගිහිල්ලාද?
ඊයා වෙනද පුරුද්දට ගිහිල්ලා යනවා හැමදාම කොච්චර එපා කිව්වත් අහන්නේ නැහැ.
The man's body was found this morning about 2 kilometers from where he entered the canal.
The official launch of the Centre for Environmental Law and Policy was held at the Law Faculty of the University of Colombo yesterday.
The event was attended by Dr. Anil Jasinghe, environmental activist and attorney-at-law Jagat Gunawardena and many other dignitaries. The official website of the Centre for Environmental Law and Policy was also launched. A panel discussion was also held on environmental conservation and sustainable development and the domestic and international levels.
You're up to date with the latest stories here on News First. Thanks for stopping by, and with that we wrap this edition of Lunchtime News. Don't forget, a comprehensive update of these stories and more will follow on our website. www.newsfirst.lk is the address. I'll see you soon at 1:55, but bye for now.